This is TWiT.
So let's talk about. So Alex, you're just going to have to recuse yourself. Actually, Alex,
I've been playing with everybody.
You're our guinea pig, by the way. Let me hide that. Okay, so you're our guinea pig because you haven't bought yet, and are you like most of the United States of America and soon China and the rest of the world? In a conundrum, in a quandary.
It is very upsetting for me. The whole thing is that if the optical image stabilization was on the small one, it would be a no-brainer. Like I wouldn't even think about the large one.
Let me just point out something real quickly that I think is significant. These are identical except for size, right? And now the pixels per inch are not, but it's not like you get more icons on the screen.
You get an extra row, don't you? No.
It looks like the same number of rows to me.
Yeah.
Now, this is not zoomed. This is standard.
Yeah.
Zoomed would take away a row, as a matter of fact.
But wait until developers start targeting that screen. Just like when the first iPad mini came out, it was just every single full-sized iPad app only like optically shrunk down, and then after a few months people started targeting that user interface and making it better. So we're seeing that a little bit with some of the Apple made apps, but I think that we're going to really see this as an entirely new like device platform.
Well, and that's another really important point for today, which is many apps are not scaled properly at all. So this is Google Plus. None of the Google apps were modified for the new resolution. So this is Google Plus basically as it would have been on the 5S or any other phone. So this is Apple's app, presumably up to date.
Yeah, and you can rotate it on the 6 Plus, Leo, so you get the if you don't have it.
I turned it off. Hold on a second.
Yeah, you'll get the split view controller.
You know why? If Apple didn't rotate the home screen, the Springboard, I would leave it on. But I hate it when Springboard rotates, right?
Yeah, so you get the iPad style of app on horizontal. Yeah,
that's nice. Yeah, but see what I don't like is when this happens. Ooh.
But even if we have that resolution, it still won't actually load iPad apps, correct? Or does it?
No, they can make the same view.
It still runs iPhone, and also it doesn't have a lot of the nice features of the iPad. Like a lot of the four-finger gestures for navigation system-wide don't work. I don't believe it works with the some of the iPad accessories through the Lightning adapter. So it's very much still a super big iPhone as opposed to an iPad that's smaller.
Which I think is kind of a bummer, because I think that it would be. I mean, I would replace my Mini with the larger one, and that would be more of a temptation for me. So
here is presumably Apple Mail is updated, right? So as soon as this loads, I'll show you. So this is a nice spam message, but I didn't want to show you any personal details in it. So Bay Alarm, you're getting a free ad. Congratulations.
It'll see your mail list when you turn it, Leo.
Yeah. So when you turn it sideways like that, I like that, and that actually is probably the best example of why a bigger screen is useful, because of course that doesn't do anything.
That's because of all those new adaptive UI classes. So you have compact and regular classes, and this iPhone presents itself as basically developers can target it as an iPad in horizontal view.
Right. There's OIS in the 6 Plus, not in the 6, although a lot of people are saying the low light performance of the 6 is excellent. The OIS doesn't turn on unless you're in a low light.
Andy, have you done any like real side-to-sides or Rene?
I'm actually going to be doing my really intensive 8-way side-by-side comparison tests Wednesday and then into Thursday. I did some quick stuff with it in the backyard and basically in darkened rooms. I think that you can, in the right situation, you certainly can see the enhancement of the 6 Plus. I don't think you're correct. I do think it's always image stabilized.
Is it always on? All right.
Okay. I believe that it's always on. But the reason why the iPhone 6 does such a good job in low light is that there are a bunch of other tricks behind the scenes. For instance, there is a 3-shot behind the scenes trick that they're doing, so that let's say that you're taking a picture of somebody inside a church. It will take it will take a sequence of 3 shots without you knowing it. The first shot will be a long exposure to capture whatever's not moving around, like the actual church, and then it will actually combine that with those 2 other pictures to find sharp areas in which people weren't moving and combine that synthetically into one shot that looks where everything looks like it's nicely in focus. So there's a lot of elfin magic behind those in that hollow tree.
It is an amazing camera on both phones.
Yeah,
we did some tests with them.
Yeah, Rene.
And we did some tests with them, and it's really close. The 6 is phenomenal in low light too, but you can just see the things. If you zoom them up, you can see that the way it handles the pixels on the 6 Plus is better. It's less noisy.
So, okay, so we're just talking about differences. Obviously, screen resolution, camera, and then battery life. How about that?
It's a monster. I go to sleep and it's still at 38%, which is nuts for the 6 Plus.
Yeah, I have yet to put when I'm finally wrapping up my last Android phone stuff today, which means I can finally put my SIM in this AT&T iPhone. So it's only been used on Wi-Fi since Friday, but I was charged up fully on Friday and had to charge it again today. And that's a guy who's been spending all weekend playing with it and watching movies with it and listening to music with it. It's just a monster, this iPhone 6 Plus battery.
6 Plus. How about the 6? What's the battery life for the 6?
The 6 is good. I think I would put it at a little bit better than what you get on the iPhone 5S, but not so dramatically better that it would influence your buying decision. I mean, there are a lot of people who actually have tethering on their iPads because they can just use that as your 2-day broadband base station. I think that this is going to attract a lot of people for the same reason. If you're using this also as your internet access point as you travel, or even spending the day outside the office, you will be able to, after using this as your base station for your MacBook or any other notebook all day long, you'll be able to board the commuter train home and still have enough juice left to have a good time on that train ride home.
Yeah, I've had the exact same thing. The battery life, some people have been confused because when you first install it, if you restore from a backup, it's got to download everything again. It's got to re-index Spotlight. There's a lot of stuff going on. So the first couple of days, it's hard to get good battery ratings. The only other thing I'd point out is it depends on your use case. For example, I quite often use my iPhone 5S when I was walking around with coffee or if I'm on the streets. I can't do that with the iPhone 6. It's just big enough that it's not that I can't reach. It's that when I try, I feel like I'm going to drop my phone and I just stop and I say, no, I'm going to put it down. It's a hand and a halfer. It is the iPhone 6 I can use perfectly well one-handed without any problems because it's so thin, it's so rounded, it still feels great. The iPhone 6 Plus, I can't do that anymore.
My basic takeaway on it is on the 6 and the 6 Plus is that your default should be the 6. I think that any iPhone user will be extremely happy with the 6 and will not have a complaint about it. If you have a reason for the 6 Plus to have this larger screen, whether you want to, you're a system administrator and you want to do remote access and have more screen, you watch a lot of movies, you read a lot of books, you really want the extra battery life for acting as a base station, or assuming that the camera tests pay off as well as I hope they will, you really are frustrated by low light photography in other iPhones, then get it. But don't. You have to have a reason in mind. Don't think that, well, I don't know which one to get, I may as well get the bigger one, because I think you're going to be kind of unhappy with it, especially after spending 5 years using phones that are, as small as this.
Look like toys now.
I had to get out like the pre-stretched out version, and holy cats, is that like a difference? Like the screen of this is about as long as this screen is wide. It's amazing.
I surprised myself. I've been using a phone of the 6 Plus's side for the last 6 months, and I really like the 6. I think the size of this. I've always felt 4.7 is kind of exactly the right size for a phone.
I prefer the size. I said for me, it's just that I take so many photos and I'm so attached to them. It's the only thing. And if Apple had put, and I'm sure that Apple thought that out.
Yeah. What is that screenshot? Oh, that's showing us.
This is the amount of pixels in the original iPhone, which is way down here in the corner.
We know that. That was 2007.
And the current.
Yeah, you might as well show a BlackBerry pager next to that. I mean, it
really does feel like the iPhone 6 is a linear successor to the iPhones, and the 6 Plus is something new. It's like the giant-sized cousin from Greenland.
I agree.
Come to visit.
I agree. And so just like you, Andy, unless you have a compelling reason to go with the larger screen, for instance, Lisa really wants the extra battery life and the larger screen. I think that most iPhone users will be overwhelmed by the 6 Plus and be extremely happy with the 6.